Welcome back to Three Shots and a Dot, and here's what's coming up in today's episode.
India completely clutched the scenario. We needing 30 from 30, and then even in fact 27 of 28, it got worse for them. And somehow they just pulled it out the bag.
Here, punt was basically just taking the sting out of the game. And anybody who's played any form of sport, whether professionally at an amateur level, you know in those moments, if you can do something to disrupt an opponent's momentum, you will do it.
What is it in one word? We choked. The reason I don't like the tag is because people that don't watch cricket, haven't followed South African cricket, don't even know who's in the side. When you spoke to them the next day, what happened? South Africa won the final. Oh, yeah, chokers. Yeah, they chokers. They always chokers. But you didn't even watch the match.
I understand, yes, the tournament was tailored for India, but it was tailored for Indian viewership. India still had to perform, and they did. So credit there. Credit to the Indian team.
Oh, or the other way around, guys. I know we promised not to talk about this because, again, this should be irrelevant when you need 30 of 30. But when Sky took that catch, there are two things that happened there. Some could argue that his foot actually did touch a rope, and then others could see clearly that the rope had moved, right? So, two ways this could be a six. What I'm saying is, how do they move on so fast from that?
Been a wonderful representation of what it means to be a multi-format player. He's done great on the world stage for years.
I think we came out in the beginning sounding a bit critical to Kohli, but I echo your sentiment that he is an amazing player. We're not going to get anything close to him going forward.
Whether you like it or not, my boy Ashik is not my boy anymore because, to my mind, he's one of the key reasons why we bloody lost that final. So we're back for three shots and a dot, of course, with one shot and one dot today. But this episode took a little while to come out, and you know exactly why. We were all busy crying after South Africa found a way to lose a final. 30 of 30 needed, and India came up trumps, a fire bowling attack that did their job perfectly. Now, I don't want to use the C word, but we might get to that. And I'm going to come straight to Kuv to start us off.
Gutted. Completely gutted. I thought we had that game, 30 of 30, like you said. Um, it was all going so well. I still can't believe that we messed that up. As well as India bowled, I just have the feeling like we threw it away. We had it, it was in our hands. Um, but the finals are they're basically just bottom lines, and the bottom line is that the Proteas didn't get over the line. C word or not, Surya Kumar Yadav, valid catch or not, the bottom line is that the trophy just didn't come home.
Yeah, so I agree. Gutted, like the rest of South Africa is. People are throwing around that C word quite loosely, but let's analyze the game a little further. I think South Africa messed the game up twice. To have India 20 some odd for three, and then allow them to go on, allow Axar to play that massive innings and go on to make 180 odd in a final. We've spoken about this, that 200 is a big score in the Caribbean. Having 180 runs on the board in a final is, one less fielder in itself. It's pressure. Scoreboard runs on the board is pressure. So they messed that game up by letting it slip while bowling. I think when we switched to the batting innings, they messed it up a second time because that amazing over from Klaasen took all the pressure off and basically brought the game to effectively a win. 30 of 30 in a T20 in a final pressure game. All the hard work is done. To throw it away from there is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sorry, let's start talking about it. Let's say chokers. Chokers are not. It takes something really special to mess that up, no matter how good the Indian bowling was. But we have to give credit to the Indian bowlers because for all that I said meant that South Africa had effectively a 99.5% chance of winning that game in the eyes of any cricket fan in the world. And for India to pull the impossible out of that is crazy, is absolutely crazy. And for that, they deserve some credit. So go on and talk about Surya's catch and, Pant's pants as an example for pulling that move. Uh, the bottom line is that as experienced players, having Klaasen and Muller at the crease in that time, you shouldn't be losing a game 30 of 30. If you came before the game and told me we are chasing, first of all, you start getting, heart flutterings. We are chasing. And then if you told me Bumrah's got 2 overs and 2 overs from another bowler, I would have told you, try and get a runner ball of Bumrah's over and target that other bowler. Try and get 15 or 16 of the other bowler. Now you come to a stage where Bumrah's got 2, you've got 5 overs left. You only need a runner ball from all the bowlers or all the balls to come. Pressure is on India. They're going to bowl wides. They're going to bowl no balls. You need to put the pressure on them, not let them put pressure on you when it's a runner ball. But anyway, going on and on. Yeah, gutted.
I'm just gonna say, I initially in the immediate aftermath of the game, I was like, yeah, blame game. I didn't want to think of the boys having thrown it away. The Surya catch, I went on and on about that for some time. I mean, by the rules of the game, technically the boundary should have been pulled back in at some point, or should have been read as per where's the white line. But regardless, India completely clutched the scenario. We needing 30 from 30, and then even in fact 27 of 28, it got worse for them. And somehow they just pulled it out the bag. The punt move, yeah, kudos to him for recognizing the situation. I never thought he had it in him to see it that way.
I've got no issues. I've got absolutely no issues with that. That was good game management. It was a tactical decision. I know people are drawing comparisons to that and what Gulbadin did. They're completely different. Gulbadin was just trying to buy time
Yeah.
to win the DRS system. Here, punt was basically just taking the sting out of the game. And anybody who's played any form of sport, whether professionally at an amateur level, in those moments, if you can do something to disrupt an opponent's
100%.
momentum, you will do it. And if you say otherwise, all you are is a couch potato and a keyboard warrior. I'm sorry. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with what he did.
No,
I fully
100%.
agree with you, Kuv. We've seen this tactic go on for years and years, and I think it was Rohit's call in this case because I saw some clips floating around of him telling Hardik, like, calm down. And we've seen this going on for years and years. The commentators saw it. Me as a spectator, I saw it. I was telling the people that I was watching, but this is what's going on. So Klaasen and Miller had to be fully aware. And then
Yeah.
just one more thing, in this day and age of club cricket, with the timeouts, the same thing happens. We now know after a timeout or strategic timeout, you're most vulnerable to lose a wicket. So the clever batsmen come and approach that next over cautiously because you need to get back into things. So again, there's no excuses. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
No, following on that, I mean, we're only speaking about it because Klaasen got out the very next ball.
mm,
If there were a couple of dots, if there was a boundary hit in between and Klaasen had fell in the next over, the tactic would have still worked.
yeah.
I would have still seen it as a success. Disrupt the momentum, cause a mistake. That's exactly what happened.
Mm, mm.
It's now just been blown up only because Klaasen just got out the very next ball.
Yeah, I know
And my heart sunk when that happened. It was even worse that it was freaking Hardik. So,
But I wasn't
yeah,
even afraid at that point because again, guys, even after 4 overs, Klaasen was gone. Sorry, when there was 4 overs left, I think we needed 26. Klaasen was gone. They took 4 off that Bumrah over. I was still like, yeah, cool beans. This game
Muller was
is
still in.
one boundary away from a game,
I
and
was I was I was confident. I was
yeah,
confident. But then doubt started to creep in because like we said, we knew that we just don't bat deep enough.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and
We've
between
got we've got batsmen. We've got batsmen suited for survival, not for scoring runs.
Yeah,
That's
100%,
our problem.
100%, 100% true there. Miller definitely had it within himself, but he didn't face enough of the strike towards the end there. Keshav Miraj and Marco Janssen, I'm not sure what the hell that was all about. And we spoke about this building up to the game when we said that we're all rounder short, we bat a bit thin down at the bottom, and it turned to be the thing that I think ultimately cost us. I mean, 4 runs of 11 balls or something like that between Marco and Kesh, and just not good enough at this level. And especially when we saw a similar thing happen earlier in the tournament. Kesh faced an entire over and I think hit one of the 6 balls. So you knew from the outset
It's the same thing.
if it's going to get
That's
to
where
that,
we lost the game.
100%.
We lost the game.
And it's really not a
We
blame
lost the game in
game.
that 19th over.
It's really not a blame game. I mean, I agree. We did lose the game at the back end there, but look, when you get to this point of a tournament, you know that it's going to be fine margins. You know that it's going to be small things, and you do have to have everyone fighting to the same cause. Marco Janssen had an absolute mare. This is the second time in a big match where he just turned up and what on earth? I
Completely
jokingly
missed
said,
his lens.
yeah, I jokingly
I don't
said
even know what he was trying to do.
he thought he was bowling to Virat in the nets again. It 100% looked like Marco Janssen turned back into Virat's net bowler. And I mean, like we spoke about Batsman in the past, you miss your length once, you miss your length twice, and you keep doing it.
And Markram had the luxury of getting away because he bowled 2 overs, if I'm
Exactly.
correct, right? So
Yeah,
he didn't need the full
That's what
quota
I
on all
was
the
crying
bowlers.
for.
Yeah.
I was crying for
the thing is,
Markram to
Kesh didn't
bowl a
bowl
few
out either.
overs, give himself options. So
So one more thing, guys. The thing that makes me even more sad is that in sport, in any sport, football, cricket, tennis, you normally have a golden era or a time where people are in form. And as cricket players, we know this. We've been hyping up this team from the start of the series, and I think it was that one team that the batting order was interchangeable, the bowling order was interchangeable. Yeah, we didn't know. We knew that we were one all-rounder short, but we had the best batting lineup and the best bowling lineup in the tournament. If it was any tournament, it was now. Who's to say in 2 years' time or 4 years' time, Klaasen's out of form, Miller may not be around. Quinny was already 1 foot out the door. Uh, we're going to have a totally different team. So I don't think you're going to have that luxury. And I think that's what makes me more sad because this team deserved it. But unfortunately, there's nothing we can do
Yeah, and
about it.
I think on what you're saying there, now the next phase of South African cricket requires in essence a rebuild again because you lose a lot of the cogs in that well-oiled machine as we thought of it. Miller's he should be retiring from at least the other formats of cricket.
There's some rumors going around, but I
No,
think
they're all fake, all fake.
yeah,
Miller did
yeah.
quash those. He came out and said basically said that he'll be around for some time. But regardless, I think we now need to look again. And we did definitely miss possibly our biggest chance. If not, yeah, I don't think there's any other way you can put it. We missed our biggest chance. That
yeah,
that should have
just
been in the
to go
bag.
back a bit to what Kum said. I mean, we
Why?
the game up in 2 places,
Hmm.
in the bowling and the batting. Naturally, we're going to speak more about the batting because that's the business end of the game, and that's where we had it in our hands and we let it go. But if you look at the bowling performance, the way India started, they started like a house on fire. And for us to bring that back and have them 3 down, that was probably the highest peak for South Africa in that match. And from there to let India back into the game with that Axar and Kohli partnership, that was poor from South
It was
Africa.
passive.
There was no way India was supposed to get to 180.
Yeah, so I
The,
hear you. If we put a 180
Let's
on the
forget that.
board and we had India 3 down inside the power play, I would say we won that game.
yeah.
If it was the other way around,
Mm.
India were chasing 180. So now I get you, Kuv. It's bad performance with bat and ball, and I don't know. I just feel like okay, let's talk about
Because
it.
we had
Pressure
it
got
in
to
both
us. Let's talk
in the
about it.
batting and bowling. We had it. And then we're like, there, India, take it away.
Take it away. I said, let's talk about it. Chokers. What's your take on this tag being thrown out there?
For me, the biggest issue with us resorting back to that word now is that it kind of disregards all the good work this team's done. Because for a change, we've gone into a tournament, and usually we tend to associate the Chokers tag with South Africa because we're often very close to being favorites, and if not somewhere in the mix to make the finals, and we never get close. We throw it away from winning situations like we did here, and by definition, I would say that it's valid calling them chokers for that, but it discounts the fact that they've been really clutch in situations where they've almost thrown the game away for the rest of the tournament. Pretty much every other game they've come into very high pressure situations and not choked. So one performance the biggest choke of them all, but one performance on a background of 8 that were very easy to
Mm.
lose, and they won. I don't think as a whole they are chokers, but in the final they choked. If that makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah, I
I
tend
kind
to.
of agree because what I think is we got results in the tournament. No one can argue that. We were undefeated. But performances were piss poor.
Yeah, they weren't great.
We were nowhere near favorites. We were the ultimate underdogs in that final.
Mm.
But because of the reputation of South African cricket, people gave us more of a chance than they would based on tournament performances.
Mm.
So I just felt like it was kind of written in the stars because of the way that we were performing through the tournament, getting results
Mm.
without playing well, that it was meant to be. And that also adds to the whole hype that we as fans gave ourselves, like, this is gonna be our year. Come on, every star is aligned. We've won nail biters and it's just one more to go.
Mm.
But by definition of choking, yes, in that situation they did. But I agree with BoiMaam that overall it's not.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with BoiMaam as well. That yeah, what is it in one word? We choked. The reason I don't like the tag is because people that don't watch cricket, haven't followed South African cricket, don't even know who's in the side. When you
Mm.
spoke to them the next day, what happened? Ah, South Africa won the final. Oh yeah, chokers. Yeah, yeah, well, they chokers. They always chokers. But you didn't even watch the match. You didn't even
Mm.
watch a tournament. You don't even know who's playing in the team. That's what irritates me when people just use that, that term loosely.
Yeah,
But yeah, we
and there's so
choked.
many South African fans that are still doing it. So for the majority or the duration of the tournament, people were backing the side. They were like, yeah, South Africa playing really well, this, that, and whatever.
Mm,
And you wouldn't get a lot of negativity. And then the moment you lose a final, it's as if all the worms pop out the woodwork. Everyone going on about how, yeah, I never watched the final because I knew they'd choke. What the absolute hell is that? So it's kind of similar to the toxicity I spoke about with fans that were booing Hardik earlier on and then cheering for him in,
mm,
in an Indian final. If you expect the boys to lose, if you almost will them to lose, then I don't think you have the right to come out and have any criticism of them when they do lose. So, unlike
mm,
our rugby team, South African cricket fans, and a lot of them, as you're saying, don't even watch the sport. They'll watch 5 overs of a game and pretend to know what's going on, but absolutely ridiculous. And I think we need to change a little bit of the South African mentality about how we back our cricket team. There was too much about in the aftermath of the final, too much about back to the old stories, politics and all of that. And for the brief period
mm,
that we didn't care about the South African cricket, it worked perfectly.
mm.
It's the one
Let's
time
not.
that there were no words and it worked perfectly.
mm.
What about just putting it out here to you guys? What about all those South African supporters that don't support South Africa and support India?
Yeah, and Divesh had a
Um,
very good
Yeah,
notice for them in the
Jimmy had a nice message for them last week.
yeah.
Yeah, my WhatsApp blew up, bro. I didn't know I had so many contacts in my phone that were not South African cricket supporters.
no, because we know,
I
right?
didn't
When
know.
we growing up, you go to Dubs, watch a cricket match in Kingsmead.
Yeah.
If India was around, then you would think you're in the middle of Mumbai, because it was a sea of blue.
To be
But
fair, it's
Yeah.
often it's more of the fans from the south. You think you're in the middle of Chennai, not Mumbai. It's all the Whistle Podu fans that tend to pop up and yeah, sing a few
Yeah.
numbers and support India. And I still know a lot of them. They still do it. They support South Africa on a good day now because there's
Mm.
an Indian player in the team. And then the moment things don't go your way, I saw someone on
Mm.
WhatsApp, as Kobe was saying, everyone popping out the woodwork. I saw someone wearing a South Africa jersey, sitting next to her partner, who was wearing an India jersey. They're both South African, by the way. And then when
Mm.
we lose, like, oh yeah, but yeah, I don't really mind because regardless, I like a lot of the Indian players. Like, oh, bro, what? So
Yeah, it's almost like, oh, why do you support India? No, because my grandfather will slap me if I don't.
yeah, 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 yeah.
literally,
No, and,
literally,
and
and
and the thing is that's one of the reasons why to give the middle finger to those supporters, and I think for the rest of the Commonwealth that was supporting anyone but India because they knew what this tournament was about. It was tailor made for India. So if you think about all the English fans, all the Aussie fans, they were actually supporting South Africa.
Yeah,
They were
literally.
like, "Fuck you, India. You made the perfect tournament for yourself, but here's South Africa that's going to topple you over." And
Mm.
they
No
fucked it
ball.
up.
Uh,
But also with that argument, I understand. Yes, the tournament was tailored for India, but it was tailored for Indian viewership.
mm,
If India made it to the semi-finals and got knocked out, that was fine. ICC would have been fine. Even if they made it to the final and lost, ICC would have still been fine
yeah.
because they would have still roped in the same number of viewership. So India still had to perform, and they did. So
No,
credit there.
I,
Credit to the Indian team.
I,
No,
I, I
It's
agree
nothing
with that.
against the Indian players.
yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Indian players have nothing to do with it.
At
So
least that's as far as we believe. Like it's the same for me. I've been totally anti this tailoring things
Mm,
to Indian cricket, but
mm,
in fairness, it hasn't. They haven't tailored outcomes of the matches. It's just been favorable
yeah.
to Indian spectatorship so that they can get
Although
viewers.
controversial question, I want to ask you a question.
Hmm.
Do you think, and this is not India now, this is just broad spectrum. Do you think DRS is rigged? Because
I
I am
do.
convinced that it
I'm
is.
100% sure as well. And it popped up to
I am
me.
convinced
I've
that it's
started
rigged.
thinking this ever since the ODI World Cup with the Rossi van der Dussen decision. I don't know if you guys remember that. Two
mm,
different
mm,
shots. Two different shots.
Don't rem-
Oh, madness. So there was an LBW decision that briefly popped up on screen and suddenly disappeared. And when it came back, the ball looked completely
Yes,
different. And it actually was the
yes,
previous
and it's the
ball. It was
same.
the ball in the previous over that was
Because what
shown.
happens is when a normal DRS LBW review is done, that that Hawkeye, it comes quickly.
It's
mm,
It doesn't
immediate.
take
It's
it
normally
doesn't take
immediate.
long. And when there is one that takes a while, those are the
Suspect.
suspect ones.
Always suspect.
Those are
I
the ones
agree.
where, like, when you saw it when you saw it without Hawkeye, it was definitely going down leg.
mm.
And then
Yeah.
when Hawkeye comes in, it's clipping leg.
There's
And
also
I'm like,
those ones that
why are the ones that are questionable the only ones where there's a delay in showing the Hawkeye? Because usually Hawkeye it's like
Oh,
that.
or the other way around, guys. I know we promised not to talk about this because, again, this should be irrelevant when you need 30 of 30.
yeah.
But when Sky took that catch, there are two things that happened there. Some could argue that his foot actually did touch a rope, and then others could see clearly that the rope had moved, right? So, two
Mm.
ways this could be a six. What I'm saying is, how do they move on so fast from there? Like, I
Yeah.
got up at that point from the couch and I said, no, this is going to take like at least 2 minutes to figure out because this is
You did it in
really
10
close.
seconds.
And then, one shot, two shots, okay, done, done, done. And then
So
I was like, okay, whoa.
so the one thing I will say about that Sky catch. So regardless of what we all believe, I mean, in the laws of cricket, fair enough. 19.3, 19.3.1, 19.3.2. If the rope had moved, they should have judged it based on the original boundary position. Fair enough, whatever, right? And I know what my impression is on the whole thing. It should have been a six, in my perspective,
Mm,
whatever. What the ICC must do now is come out, have the balls, and tell us that there was an error in their judgment in not making a call over a period of time, or say vice versa. Say this is
mm,
why we still gave the catch. A little bit of clarity would go a far way in taking off some of the sourness from the whole situation,
mm,
because we lost a game and we felt shit about losing the game because it was a final and in the manner we did.
mm,
And you compound it with something that it suits the narrative of Indian cricket being in cahoots with the ICC and Jay Shah paying a little bit more here and there and all of that. And you don't want that. That's one thing I could say, regardless of what I believe or who I support. I don't want to come out of a game thinking, was this actually the way it's supposed to be? Did someone palm
mm.
someone under the table for this? You want to lose fair,
No,
you want to lose square, and you need transparency for that.
again, yeah, whether they come out or not, I don't care because you shouldn't be getting to that point where you need that to be a six. A game shouldn't have got there. So, don't come out for that reason. If they want to come out and say we made a mistake just for the consistency of the game and say, look, the result doesn't change, but going forward, there's clarity on it. When the boundary thing moves, because of this uncertainty, we need to clarify it even further
No,
that
exactly.
going
That's
forward,
my
it's not
point
going
as
to
well.
happen.
It's
But
merely so
yeah,
the supporter knows.
stuff that the rest, I don't care. Even if it was rigged, South Africa could have
Yeah.
worked a game out of any situation when it's 30 or 30. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah. But anyway, my point is, I think DRS is rigged.
No, myself. I'll
yeah.
completely agree with you there, and there will be an expose at some point. We know this. Cricket,
Mm.
unfortunately, is a game
Amazon.
that has always had a lot of underhanded shit, so to say, that goes on behind the scenes. We've seen it in various documentaries in the past, and guaranteed, whether you like it or not, there will be more that we see in the future. But it'll just be nice to not have to think about it so much because things, as we say in Cove, like shouldn't take forever to make a DRS decision. But regardless,
Mm.
South Africa lost. That was fair and square. I think we all agree they choked, but that team in general aren't chokers. Now we'll move on and leave our sorrow back there. Who do we think were the biggest overachievers in the tournament?
Gotta be Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page.
Fun fact
But
about Afghanistan, though. So their win-loss record is 5-3.
hmm,
In the 5 matches that they won, they bowled the opposition out. In the 3 matches that they lost, they were bowled out.
Oh wow.
okay. Yeah, no. I'll just hold you guys there. I mean, Kov, you said gotta be Afghanistan, but to be the biggest overachievers, don't you need to be expected to not achieve too much? Is it the fault of the watching public, or did we underestimate
I
Afghanistan?
I expected that they would. I
Yeah,
expected that they
yeah.
would
So
overachieve.
but that's why I brought you
They were
back.
my semi-final.
That's why I brought you
Yeah, no,
back.
no, and I must
Nah,
admit,
that was my feel. That was my feel. And I mean, I'm glad that they proved me right. But to the vast majority and 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 majority of the public, they didn't give them a chance.
Hmm.
At least I gave them a sniff. So
no, and I must admit, Kov, that I gave them no chance. And when you mentioned it in the beginning of the series, I thought, nah, look at him. And then
Yeah.
when they started playing well, I was like, oh shit. Then I flipped and I started backing them. So no, they're likable cricketers. I think I've said that before. They played really well. They surprised me. So definitely, exciting things to come from them in the future. I hope.
Hmm. I do agree, though, that Afghanistan were possibly the biggest overachievers. They performed exceptionally well, and they really left their mark on world cricket. I don't think anyone's going to take them lightly anytime soon. But I'll throw Bangladesh's name in the hat as well, because as I was just saying, you have to expect something that goes with this over or underachieving kind of sentiment. I thought that Bangladesh are absolutely useless, one of the most piss poor sides in the tournament, and to get as far as they did, by my standard, would be overachieving. They should have never made it out the group, and I'm saying that knowing that we had really crap teams at the other end of the group. I think Bangladeshi cricket is in a
mm,
horrible place, and the fact that they got as far as they did, they even got close to keeping Afghanistan out of a semi. Um, yeah, I think for me they were the biggest, one of the biggest overachievers. Now coming to the underachievers, and I think there's a fair few that can be lumped into this category, but top of the lot,
Biggest one, New Zealand.
oh,
I expected way
yeah.
better things from them. I expected them to come with a suboptimal team, but they came with a good team and overachieved
Hmm,
because they generally, perform under pressure.
definitely.
So yeah, very disappointed with New Zealand.
mm,
Yeah. No, I agreed. They were also in my 4.5s and
mm.
completely failed there.
Mm.
I'd throw Australia in the mix there as well.
No,
No run.
Australia, I
Everybody
don't
thought
care about them.
Yeah, but
everybody thought they're guaranteed finalists,
yeah, I
but
mean they
nah,
for
good.
the amount of attitude that came with
Yeah,
the expectations. I mean, surely the rest of the country shouldn't have even played the World Cup because Australia had, as far as I know, won the World
Hmm.
Cup before it started, and
No, exactly. Everywhere that I looked on socials,
yeah,
every single list of predicted semi-finalists that I've seen had Australia.
yeah, there were a ton of
So
them there.
Coombs is right.
Now I know there are some Aussies that watch this, as we've seen from the analytics. Guys, you can take a bit of banter. You had a big mouth before the tournament, so just sit tight. We're allowed to chirp back now. What on
no,
earth
no,
happened?
but Isn't it doesn't work like that? Only Aussies are allowed to chirp, and when they get it back, then they
Aha.
go to the news and make a big thing out
No,
of
I mean,
it. You're not allowed
Fox,
to. Yeah.
Fox and a few other news carriers like Yahoo, whoever the hell even still uses Yahoo, except Australians. Um, they all carried the story that Afghanistan cheated their way into the semis because of Gulbuddin Naib, and we all know, the rest of us, that gunshot to the thigh never had an impact on the outcome of the game. But yeah,
Yeah.
they did carry that story for quite some time, and shame, man. Look,
No, guys, let's be nice. We all know that when that happens, it's unsportsmanlike. But if Australia does it, then it's okay. It's permissible.
yeah, yeah.
For me, again, Australia up there, but still New Zealand at the top.
New Zealand, the Kiwis have to be at the top for me as well. And it's sad because, in particular, they've had a lot of really high quality stars that we've watched for years. And generally, they've been likable characters, bar a few, like the few South Africans that have played for that New Zealand side and, caused us a few problems in the past, got us knocked out
Such
of World
as
Cups and the like. Grant Elliott, the cake. I'll never forget that. So I cried with
yeah.
AB and Faf. But yeah, we dropped a few catches. That's our own problem. We were chokers. You can call us that. Cool and all of that. But it's sad to see Kane, Salvi, Bolts, all these guys
yeah,
at the back end of their careers go out in let's be honest, in shame.
Yeah, they're done.
In shame.
yeah.
It's a sad way to see really top quality cricketers just like be forgotten now. And that's what's going to happen. They don't, apart from Bolt, the rest of the guys don't really feature at the top end in other T20 tournaments, so we're not going to see much of that. But yeah, so in the tournament as a whole, who do we think was the best bowler and best batsman?
I think
Oh,
best bowler
Ola
for
is not even a
me.
competition.
Yeah, hands down. He did it the whole tournament. He came and did it in the final. Uh,
Can
best
I just
batsman
hold you
for
there,
me.
Coombs? Can I just hold you there,
Hmm.
Coombs? We're talking about Bumrah, right?
Yeah, of
Can
course. Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
can we say
That
hands
has to be.
down? Can we say hands down that Bumrah is possibly, and I know he's great in all formats and possibly the best in all formats, but is he the best white ball bowler ever?
100%.
Yeah.
As a
If you look at
paceman,
it, I
as
saw
a
a stat,
paceman,
and it's freaking ridiculous. It's ridiculous, his stats. In T20 World Cups, going back to 2020, so in the last 3 editions, he's averaging less than 5 in every phase of play. During the power play, through the middle, and the death overs. He's the most economical bowler in the power play and the death, and the third most economical bowler in the middle overs. And that's for all players who's bowled a minimum of 50 balls over 3 World Cups.
it's ridiculous. Like,
I've not seen someone have so much of control.
yeah, the skill
He
set
knows
is
exactly what he's going to do. He's got such a big skill set, like you're saying, that he will catch you out, and he's so good at anticipating what the batsman is going to anticipate of him. It's like reverse psychology. And every time I feel like he can't keep this up. He just keeps doing it.
I fully agree. It's Bumrah hands down. I don't think there's a debate around that. When you move to batsman, there's a couple of honorable mentions that need to go around. So, Sky played well, Rohit played well. We gave Stubbs, we talked him up, and he played well in the final as well. Yeah, silly shot to get out, but
stupid shot again.
he played well. But let's not forget, we came hard down at Kohli. Kohli played well in one game,
Yeah.
and
But he played the innings that we thought he would.
And that's the thing, right? And I kept telling myself, you know what? If Kohli does this, it's my words are gonna come true. He's gonna make 50 or 45 balls and then get out, and that's gonna win South Africa the final. But again, we let it slip. We allowed him to go and convert that.
No, and
Yeah.
you know what the thing is, right? He didn't even like really convert because he ended up on 129 strike rate, which isn't great, right? But
Mm-hmm.
Marco Janssen, man, I do not want to be singling out people, but literally, Kohli's entire difference between having a 95 strike rate and 129 was Marco Janssen. It was just Marco Janssen.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, Marco, we love you, but bro, that was shit. It's two big knockout games in a row. But yeah, Kohli, he turned up, and this is the thing. I think we all said it. There will be a big innings. He's due runs. He has to have a knock at some point. It came at the rate that we predicted as well. We said that it wouldn't go super hard. You'll get it in under 150 strike rate, that kind of thing. But it turned out to be match winning innings. And I think whether we like it or not, the extra 20 runs that he got there was enough to put that extra bit of pressure on us. Because in essence, without that Kohli knock, before Klaasen edges off to punt, we win the game.
Game over. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Absolutely.
yeah. But kudos to him. I mean, he's retired from T20 cricket now, and regardless of whether we'd like to jump on the bandwagon and not sing his song and like enjoy when people are like, but how can you say Kohli's like this and Kohli's like that? Whatever. Those are for bands. Great cricketer, been a wonderful representation of what it means to be a multi-format player. He's done great on the world stage for years. Consistency at the highest level, top run scorer in T20 World Cups over the longest period ever. And Rohit's not going to be there either. So it's going to take a while before they catch Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and David Warner, all of which are in the top 3 or 4. I don't think we see something like this for quite some time.
So I wanna add there. I think we came out in the beginning sounding a bit critical to Kohli, but I echo your sentiment that he's an amazing player. We're not going to get anything close to him going forward. For me, I've been the biggest Kohli fan on its own, not when he played South Africa. When we were talking Kohli down, we were saying this is a vulnerability, and if you can get him to 50 runs or 45 balls, get him out, that's a match losing innings. But he's been amazing, and the thing I like about Kohli is that he is a classical player. He knows his shots. He doesn't try and do anything that's, unorthodox. He is an amazing test player. He's an amazing ODI player. And for him to bring that into a T20 game and say, you know what, I'm not going to sweep the ball at all, but I'll still make
Yeah,
runs
yeah.
at a very high strike rate. For my standards, it's Kohli standards, very high strike rate for Kohli standards, and maintain a really high average. I think it's world class, and we're not going to see something like that for a long time.
Yeah, no, on this batsman of the tournament debate, I'd like to throw another South African into the mix there. A certain Andries Gous.
Hmm,
I think he batted brilliantly.
he
I
did.
think he played some smashing knocks for USA there. A lot of their good work was down to him.
Yeah,
I know Aaron Jones gets a lot of the credit for the one match that he scored 94, but if you look at the rest of the USA games, Andries Gous was always there
Yeah,
making scores,
yeah, yeah.
and he actually
100%.
batted well. To be
100%.
honest, I mean, he used to live down the road from where I live here, so
Yeah, unfortunately
I'm
for
joking, I'm
him,
joking, I'm
we
joking.
we only
I don't know who the he is,
we only import spinners and we
but
export
anyway,
everyone else.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
nah. But he's one of the honorable mentions, not batsman of the tournament, but
Yeah.
but give him a mention.
No, definitely, and I agree with you. A lot of people gave Aaron Jones a lot of the credit because of that 90, but Host was there in every game, including in that game where where Aaron Jones made his 90, and he played a very
Uh-huh.
measured knock there, which he then converted slow, slow, slow up until the point so that they need to accelerate a bit, and then he went wild and he got 30 in quick time after a very slow first 30, and then he did that
Mm,
repeatedly throughout the tournament. So
mm,
brilliant from him. I think you have to give a shout to Gurbaz. He ended up top run scorer in the tournament. Didn't
Mm.
really fire in the most vital moment. That was against South Africa. But to be fair, in that game, they all struggled. They had a
No,
long
but
night.
credit to that whole
Poor.
team because that's a young team as well.
Mm,
You know what I mean? We're talking
mm.
about other guys like Kohli, Sky, Heinrich Klaassen.
mm.
These guys are
Hey,
in 30
putting
plus.
you 100% right. Putting Gurbaz in the conversation, I think, is already saying a lot about.
Mm.
I guess good work, Jonathan Trott. He's definitely brought that team somewhere along.
Yeah,
But I'm
but I
glad.
think I think all this.
But I'm glad that we smacked them in the way we did. And it's not because I don't like the Afghanis. I think they're amazing. Jonathan Trott had a bloody big mouth in the press conference leading up to that game. He alluded to the fact that now all the pressure on South Africa and we're used to choking. Well done, sir. This is why you don't be a cake in public. Things like that happen afterwards. Back to the point, Kuf.
So I think all this discussion means is that there was no standout batsman throughout the
Mm.
tournament. Um, Batsmen struggled across the tournament. We knew it was going to be a bowlers tournament. So all of the honorable mentions, they were all great. I personally don't think there was a standout batsman.
I guess fair enough.
Yeah, fully agree.
So I've got a question for our resident odds man here, Coombs. What are the odds of no century being scored in this World Cup?
Oof,
Oh yeah, that's a
oof,
crazy one.
good one. That is a good one because in this day and age of T20, you see centuries left, right, and center. I think to all of us, it was no surprise because we went into this tournament hoping for slow wickets. We kind of, we got it. But yeah, interesting one. I don't think anyone realized that we never had a
Yeah,
Hmm,
century.
I think Coop
yeah,
just outplayed the bookie here.
Nikki P
He
was
asked
the
you
highest.
what are the odds, and he was expecting 10 to 1, 20 to 1, and you came back to him saying good one. So the one player that we haven't spoken too much about, we've given Kohli his dues, and I think we've given Rohit his dues throughout the podcast thus far. But Jadu had a horrible World Cup for by his standards at least.
He was a passenger.
Hmm.
But
He was a passenger.
I think as a whole, again, another very good cricketer that's come to the end of his time, Ravindra Jadeja, done his job in the past. This World Cup, just not quite at it.
Someone
Yeah.
said
India were playing with 10.
Someone said in one of the games that when Axar came into this World Cup, he was going to learn and mirror and be a junior Jadu. But I would argue the opposite. That Axar came and he said, "This is for me," and he played amazing with bat and
Hmm,
ball.
Yeah,
hmm.
Um,
No, I agree. Like, if you had to ask who's going to be Jadu's replacement, the natural person is Akshay.
no, no
and he's
question
there
about
already
it.
doing it.
Nobody else.
Yeah,
Has
So,
he
I
has he
mean
not already
yeah,
replaced
so
him? Well, he has, I
uh,
guess.
I,
bringing him in
I
at
think
number
so. So
five in a final before
Yeah.
Dubé and Hardik,
Hmm.
ballsy,
he,
and
he
he handled it
isn't in one
well.
of the earlier matches in the tournament. He came in at 3.
He came in
Yeah,
at 3. Yeah, he did. He did.
yeah,
And I think I
ballsy, and,
think
and, and he handled it well.
when you watch him play, unlike what you traditionally see, at least from Shivam Dube, he actually has some technique about it. It's not just
Mm.
slug, slug, slug. It's cricket shots for the most part, but there's still
It
some slug.
seems it seems like with his batting and his bowling, he's thinking about what he's doing.
Mm.
Seems like a
He's
very
he's
thinking
very
cricketer.
he's very match aware. He's very
Yeah.
situationally aware of what's needed of him. He can come and score you 10 of 3,
Mm.
or he can come and play the innings that he played in the final,
And
or he can come and scrape and grind. So,
look, this is remember this. We're saying all of this on the background of us previously not really rating him, and that's I think fair
mm,
to say across the board. Because when we picked a spinner from this India team that would be key, we never thought that Aksha would be the guy. We
Shadow was
said,
the first name on your lips. You know what I mean?
yeah, Jadu was
It
at the
had to be
mm,
top.
Shadow.
Kuldeep
Mm.
was there for big turn. We even went towards Chahal, or if you call him Yajvendra Chahal.
Shahal before Akshar.
Yeah,
Mm.
and Aksha, I think kudos to him for pulling it out the bag at the most important time. He's done it. He did it back to back in a
Mm,
semi and then in a final. Brilliant stuff.
yeah, I think it's more because he's one of those unsung hero types.
Mm.
I don't think it'll phase him too much that people are not mentioning his name. He's
Hundred
just there to get
percent.
the job done.
Mm.
So,
No, sure. And
Cool.
I remember watching this kid come from the very beginning at Kings 11 Punjab. And,
sorry, Tata.
he would he would bat at number 9 or number 8 or whatever the case was. And there was about 2 or 3 matches in that period where they lost a lot of early wickets. And he came in and he hit 1 or 2 sixes, 1 or 2 fours, and he started making a name for himself as an all-rounder.
Hmm.
But he never got the opportunity, and it's nice to see for Akshar now that they have the confidence in him. Like, hey, we'll bring you number 3. Hey, we'll bring you number 5 in the final. Uh, 2, 3 years ago, unfortunately for Akshar, he was number 8 or number 9 no matter what. Even if he had that ability to hit sixes in IPLs, like he's been doing for Delhi and so on, I don't think they backed him on the big stage as much as they do now, and I like to see that.
Yeah, I think the one thing that he is lucky about is that his surname is Patel and not like Panduranga or Pandarajan. But yeah,
Or
Akshat
Pandya.
deserves his charge. Oh, Pandya, I mean, look, whether you like it or not, my boy Ashik is not my boy anymore because, to my mind, He's one of the key reasons why we bloody lost that final. So yeah, I've taken a temporary leave from. I've taken a temporary leave of absence in terms of me supporting the Mumbai Indians. I might have to reconsider. Might have to reconsider watching the IPL at all. Quite anti-Indian cricket at the moment. And I'm just joking, but yeah. So that was that. Now going forward and away from all of this World Cup talk and some really good performances, some interesting cricket, we have a fairly decent year up ahead. The next big championship is the Champions Trophy, which comes up next year. Quite far away. Of course, the World Test Championship still going on. On the South African end, we've got some interesting cricket coming up as well. We've got West Indies in a two-match Test series. Of course, all our Test series going forward will be two-match Test series because, as you know, CSA has some financial difficulty and all of that. And to be fair, only the top cricket nations like India, Australia, and England are able to afford having more than two-match Test series. But regardless, we play West Indies, then Ireland, and then we take on India later in the year in a T20 series. And if I'm not mistaken, India and Pakistan will be having a series of sorts in South Africa. I think that it's some sort of triangular series because we were due to take Pakistan on early next year. I think our Boxing Day test is against Pakistan, but some sort of triangular series going on that obviously will come to when the time arises.
If I'm being honest, after the IPL and this World Cup, I think I need a change of pace. I'm looking forward to some Test cricket again, and then just to shoulder the heartache of this World Cup, and then hopefully we can give India some payback come November.
Mm.
So I think that's smart. If you throw away the final, we'll bring the biggest sporting event to your country. Thank you very much, CSA. Jokes aside, jokes aside. Yes, that's a joke. Um, it's going to take a while for me to watch cricket again. Hopefully not too long. But I think, yeah, watching not South Africa, not India, but England play someone, Australia play someone, one of the tours, just to take your mind off things. And then, yeah, hopefully, if it is a triangular series, or if South Africa are playing Pakistan in December, whatever the case may be, I guess by then we'll be excited again. But yeah, like we said earlier, I think there's going to be a bit of new blood, bit of shake up. We're not going to be playing that same side. There's going to be a lot of trying this, trying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I guess is valid.
And just on that, as you're saying, there's going to be a lot of trying this and trying that. If we don't, then we're being really stupid about it because this is the time. Outside, you've just finished a big tournament. Hasn't gone perfectly to plan, but it's gone fairly well. Start on the front foot. Go now and find the players to fill the gaps. We know we need an all-rounder. It would be even better if we could find a good spin bowling all-rounder. Something that we've lacked forever. I think Robin Peterson was probably the one that came closest to being it. Or maybe Johan Botha could hold a bat. But we haven't really had one, and I think good time to look. Roelof's from Netherlands. What are you talking about? No, I'm joking. to be fair, when
Johan Botha is from Australia. What are you talking about?
I mean, fair. The
Okay,
country
well,
of
we had it. What
Colfax.
about Glenn Phillips? Good all-rounder.
I don't know. I don't see anyone in domestic cricket that looks like they might fill that gap. But hopefully, we will find a good young player at some point soon in South African cricket. And then we'll get to share it all with you on 3 Shots and a Dot. Now, if you've enjoyed this episode, please drop us a like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay tuned for everything that is to come. And of course, you can also listen to us on all the audio platforms like Audible and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You name it, we're on it. Get there, listen to us, or check us out here. If you want to see what our faces look like when we chat, all the shit that we do. Until the next one, please take care. Don't forget to pour a shot and cheers.